1. TLDR, wife only kissed an ex-boyfriend. Is anything trustworthy about her anymore? My wife of 13 years went on a weekend road trip to another city. Staying indoors for the length of the pandemic has been hard on our family. We have a 6-year-old. We went to a log cabin in February, but given my work commitments I decided not to book another trip so soon, so she wanted to go get out of the house by herself. On the agenda for her trip, she planned to meet a friend, who she dated in high school, but I thought nothing of this because I came to know him too, did not think they had anything going on anymore. We have met this person at social events a handful of times during our marriage. When she came back, she acted strangely. She was very uncomfortable with my physical touch. Later that night, she told me that she kissed someone in this other city. I asked if it was the ex-BF and she said yes. This was devastating for me because it broke the trust in our relationship. The next day she told me that I need to accept we are getting a divorce. She went completely cold. She told me things like the last time we had says I felt nothing. She said her feelings for me were fading for a long time, but on her road trip she had an epiphany and they are completely gone. She even went on a long diatribe of all the personality quirks she detests of me. What I'm so shocked by is how a person's personality could abruptly change from love to extreme anger and loathe. Just weeks earlier she would make nice compliments about how easy I am. Untrustworthiness is the exact opposite of what I thought of her before this. Since coming back from that trip a little over a week ago her mood has improved to be polite. But she has pushed away all attempts at physical touch except for an occasional hug. This is weird since before the trip we often hugged and kissed each other. The story of what this kiss was changed several times. She said that it was brief and she stopped because she felt it was a mistake. In one version of the story it was at the beginning of the trip when they first met at a coffee shop. She said she was just so excited to see someone after being so isolated in the pandemic that she got wrapped up in the moment. Thoughtful face, that doesn't make sense to me because neither of them are fully vaccinated and she spent the whole last year being afraid of getting near anyone or even using a public restroom. In another version of the story the kiss was at the end of the trip before she left. Even before the pandemic, she struggled to be happy in our marriage. Certain negative events with our careers, money, and family health have been stressors. I could tell she's been depressed. I've had trouble giving her the intimacy she needs because I am struggling with extreme stress myself. What do you think is going on here? I'm trying to make sense of what she might be thinking. I am now doubting a lot of things I thought I knew about her and what we had together. We will get divorced, but if she ever wants to have an intimate relationship with me again, what is likely to be her motivation and how might that play out if I accept her into my life again?
I want to be as honest with you as I can, but I gotta be, I want to be honest, and I'm just gonna tell you that I think you're fucked. I think personally speaking and shit, behind my avatar, I think this man is totally fucked and he's going to hell. He's going to hell in a handbasket because he has a 6-year-old with this woman and he doesn't have his fucking head on straight. He obviously doesn't have a support system that includes any number of men, if even one or whatnot. So what you have here is this motherfucker is a I guess you call it a sacrifice. He's a social sacrifice and a pariah and shit already. He didn't even know it or not. Just the fact that he's in this situation tells me that he grew up in some kind of matriarchal system and shit. Okay, he didn't have a decent father. Because anybody with a half-decent father would call their dad up and get some advice about this shit. Be like, hey dad, this shit is going on. And you know what your father would tell you and shit? He'd tell you this. He'd say, hey, get your kid and come over here right now. No questions asked. Pack some clothes up for your kid. Get a bag together for yourself and leave the house and come over here for like at least a week. Alright? So that being said, I want to tell you, I'm going to give you my fucking advice if this story is real. And I'm pretty sure it's real, actually. I feel like it's real, So I'm going to tell you that, the minute she went on that trip and she came back and she started talking to you, and the words came out of her mouth. As soon as you heard the words kissed another man, you need to cut her off right there and say, okay, hold up right there. Hold up, stop talking. You get up out of the bed, because she told you that most cheaters in this manner with a kid and everything, they try to get you in a vulnerable position before they hit you, you know. And usually that's when, like, middle of the night, when you're laying in the bed next to them or something, they're gonna roll over and put their hand on you and wake your ass up and then tell you this bullshit. Or they might fuck your brains out and then tell you this bullshit. Okay? When you hear that shit come out of your wife's mouth, you're legally married to this woman, you have a child. When you hear that shit come out of her mouth, this is what you do. So she say she kissed or did anything or with anywhere with a man, you know, that's not a member of her family or somebody you accept or whatever. And for you, no man is acceptable and shit because you're fucked. The minute that shit comes out of her mouth, you say, hold on one moment. Just hold on, don't say anything. You get your ass up out of the bed, you open the bedroom door, you go across the hall and shit, go into the bathroom, lock the fucking door, and take a long shower, right? And then if you have any decent means, if you have like another room in the house, this is what you do. You go walk down the hall, pick your son up out of the bed, take him to that second room, go in that motherfucking room, put him in the bed, and then you lock the fucking door, and then you get in the bed, you go to sleep. If she knocks on the door, you say, hey, I don't want to deal with this. I'm going to go to sleep. Me and the baby are sleeping here, okay? You do what you got to do, and I don't want to talk about it. If she pushes the issue, you leave the house with the baby if humanly possible. If she pushes to keep the kid, then you leave the house without her. Don't say shit. Don't show emotion. Just walk out and shit. I'm not going to tell you it's called gray rocking and shit. But listen to nothing else she says. Pay no more attention to her. And you go to an alternative location and you start calling lawyers and shit if you can afford one. You start calling lawyers for a divorce. Okay? You start calling lawyers for a divorce. And you stop talking to her with emotion. If she calls you up and say, what's going on with our kid? What is going on? What's happening with the kid? If she has anything to say besides anything going on with the son, you say this and shit, okay? Alright? And you make sure you start filing your petition as soon as possible. Your divorce petition and your whatever you want as far as a kid and shit. If you're in an at-fault state, see if there's litigation so that you can pursue monetary remuneration from her affair partner and shit. I would advise heavily for that in today's society and shit. Okay? I'm not going to get into the rant territory and shit, but she must go. And then you talk to her, you tell her, hey, are you moving out or am I moving out? And she can either say you or her. Don't give her no leeway. If she says she's going to leave, you come back the next day with some friends and you start packing up, boxing up everything and shit. You tell her like, oh, just write me a list of all the shit you want and I'll box it up and we'll put it out in the front yard for you, okay? Or we'll stick it in the storage unit. You go buy a storage unit and me and my buddies will pack all the shit up and deliver it there. But under no circumstances allow her to continue that sentence. Under no circumstances allow her to continue telling you the story about how she kissed and ultimately fucked another man and shit. You make a clean break there and shit. I want to tell you why. You have a small child with this woman. She's made it known that she's uncomfortable in the house with you and your son, and that she needs time away from her 6-year-old baby. And she goes away and hooks up with a guy. What the fuck does that tell you? That tells you that she deserves nothing, no humanity from you. She loses her status as anything to you and your baby and shit. And you just gotta take your lumps in the court system and shit. But you make sure that you get everything to your lawyer. Your agreement, or whatever you think is fair as far as seeing your kid, or just file for outright custody of the kid and shit. And see what happens and shit. She's gonna stick it to you. She never loved you. You were just security, okay? The fact that she could have a baby with you, have a fucking baby with you, and then go do this, makes everything in your life suspect, okay? You were a scam, okay? You were drifted and shit by a criminal. Alright? Make sure you DNA test your child, just to be sure. You've already probably signed a birth certificate, so he's yours for 18 years. Alright? And I would advise you to tell the 6-year-old what happened and shit, okay? I know that's unpopular, but, you know, I hate to go tit for tat, but women been doing this parental alienation shit for like hundreds of fucking years and shit. I'll just put it their way. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. Maybe I'm wrong about the hundreds of years. However long this shit's been going on, where, however since the women took over the court system and shit, theoretically speaking and shit. I think you should let it be known to your kid in the most ginger way possible. Just find a therapist that agrees with you. Make sure you find one. Make sure it's a man. And you sit your son down. You say, hey son, me and mommy love you, but we're gonna have to live in separate houses. Mommy has another man. Okay? This doesn't mean I love you. I'll always be your dad, okay? Daddy loves you. Daddy has to make a new house, so you got 2 houses now. But mommy has another man, so she said daddy has to leave and go away. Alright, you tell your son that. I don't give a shit. That therapist can't rat you out in court and shit. That therapist can't rat you out. Just tell him. Just go scorched earth and shit, okay? Even if you decide not to really expose her or nothing, but you should call up and let her parents know, her relatives, all that shit. Change her social media status to divorced, you know, change it to divorced and shit, or just go get off the grid and rebuild your life. But like, you know, because I'm giving you this advice, I know you're not going to take this advice, and you're going to go through you're going to go through all the stages of grief. You're going to go through all of them shits, man. And she's still going to have her fist up your ass for the foreseeable future while she does whatever she wants and waves her dirty panties in front of your face and shit. So that being said, I got to go now. But if you don't fucking believe me, that's on you. Alright, for future reference, just to help you out, I'm going to advise you to go online and purchase a mini-series called East of Eden and shit. Alright, you watch that shit. It has James Seymour in it. I want you to fucking watch that, and then you'll see what I'm talking about, okay? Alright, that's a John Steinbeck novel and shit. John Steinbeck, a great American author. Alright, that's a John Steinbeck deal. This is a miniseries that was made, you know, in the 80s, alright? I want you to watch that, buddy.
Sunday, no man could escape her beauty.
She is an alley cat.
No man dares.
Still love me, don't you? Even after I shot you. Knowing the man I must have had in my bed. You just slept with your brother's wife.
She took them all somewhere east of Eden. Parental discretion advised.
It turns out that the early reports were wrong, all wrong. Now, for that group out there that had such a hard time getting home, sorry about that. I guess the only thing we can do is play you a song.